It's kept me going for all these years, do the prophecies and everything, because I see the final outcome, and it's just a matter of getting there, and I don't always know the timing of the time of getting to that place, but I think that we're getting really close. And we also have another thing out there, and that's the planet coming in. And if you look at where most of the Earth events have been, they've been in the southern hemisphere, like Australia, the earthquakes in the South Pacific, which has been a horrendous amount, South America, the earthquakes in there, and Chile and Colombia, and the floods down there, and in South Africa and in Bangladesh. This is all the lower hemisphere. And so the planet is coming in from the south. And so as that comes in, it brings or causes floods and earthquakes in the southern hemisphere. And so this is exactly what has been going on for a few years now, and especially lately with, Australia getting the tremendous flooding and then the cyclone on top of it all, And so that's
bizarre.
Yeah, so that's from the energy, I think, of that planet getting closer. And affecting our planet.
And you're talking about the 12th planet, right?
Well, it has different names to it. Some people call it on the 12th planet. Some people call it Nemesis. Some people call it Nibiru. There's all different names to it. I think it's the dark star. I think it's Nemesis. I think it's a companion of our sun.
Okay.
And I think it's on a regular cycle that comes around every so often.
Okay.
And I think that now's the time for it because we just finished a 26,000-year cycle.
Right.
And so it's time for a change. And so it's like a electromagnetic effect that comes from it, because, it won't hit Earth or anything like that, but the magnetic pull or the electrical pull, when it gets close enough to the Earth, can cause all kinds of changes. And there's more and more volcanoes that are erupting and, getting hot. And in the Earth, there are, a tremendous amount of volcanoes in the ocean, and underground. I couldn't believe how many there were. It was a tremendous amount. And they're getting really hot, and then with the core doing what it's been doing, the temperature has gone up to like 750 degrees, in some of the volcanoes, and that's one of the reasons that some of the fish have been dying, I think. Is because they get in the water that there's a volcano there, and it gets too hot for them, or it could get too cold for them with the thing out. But also, I think that a lot of the mass animal deaths has been caused from the magnetic pole shift that happened in December, and the chart was off the scale from December 21st to December 25th, and then on 26th. It was back to normal, the USGS earthquake chart. And so I thought, wow, that was like the earth shook for 4 days.
Right.
And that's a lot. And then I think that it started shaking again in January, around January 13th, in various places. So I think that the core is kind of wobbling. Or doing something that's keeping it agitated, or the energy up for it.
So in other words, these are not situations that are going to be going away. If anything, they're going to increase probably in intensity and move around the planet.
Very much so.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, because we're on a roll,
Right.
And so with Jupiter being in Aries, Jupiter's a large planet, and Aries is a fire sign. And volcanoes are fire, fire in the heavens, fire everywhere. And then when Uranus goes into Aries, Uranus is a planet of change, and Aries being the fire sign, and so lots of change. So probably more on the the fire or the high frequency energy change.
Oh, okay. And that could be connected to the that energy that you said was coming in, the that was like a gas cloud or something?
Yes.
So, and that's about the similar timing. So if we see that, we know that that might be connected to these events.
Right, and there's been a lot of other signs going on, too, for people that are aware of what's happening, because I believe that from December of 2010 to October of 2011 is what's considered the Day of the Lord.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm sure that you're aware of this UFO that came down over Mount Zion.
I briefly heard about that. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, this was let's see, I think it was in January 28th. There were some people that were up on Mount Zion, which is a very, very important part of prophecies. And they were overlooking the Dome of the Rock, which is the most sacred place in the world for the Arab religion, you know. And so this UFO, which was a plasma light shift, it came down, and the video is excellent of it. And it came down, and it landed right over the Dome of the Rock.
Wow.
And then it stood there for a while. And then the light just expanded in the ship, and then it just took off. And so there's it also, according to what I've heard on the internet, you know, I don't know, you can't always believe the internet, but I mean, there's so much, you know, information, but anyways, but it says that there was actually a coded message that was given to them, and what it's supposed to have said is, "Be of no fear, as we have returned."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so the ship was awesome because, you know, like some people say, "Oh, you know, it's a dark ship." So I said, "No, the plasma ships are not dark ships. The dark ships are more mechanical, and they're not as highly advanced as the light ships and the plasma ships." And this was like a white horse in heaven, you know, coming down to the Dome of the Rock.
Horse again, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
In front of all the people, and then the internet. I mean, the video is the most watched video on the internet right now, and so
after we had the show.
So it hit everyone, you know, because they're so aware of the prophecies of that particular area, you know, Israel, and connected with Egypt and the pyramids. And another thing is that you're familiar with the cryon channelings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the magnetic master, you know, Cryon's magnetic master, and they were building this Christ grid around everything, you know, for a long time.
Yeah.
The new grid, yeah. Well, this new grid is anchored in the pyramid in Egypt.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it says the Christ grid is anchored by its axis at Cairo in Egypt.
Oh, interesting.
And so that's another thing, and so the pyramids, because all the sacred sites are being activated right now. And the pyramids is one of them, one of the major ones, you know, and I'm sure Stonehenge is being activated too. Well, they have the crop circles all the time.
Right.
But Egypt being activated, you know, with the pyramids, and if there's an energy coming out of the pyramids now that might disturb the people a bit, that could help disrupt the stuff over there too, you know, and bring out the revolution and bring up the energy for freedom.
Interesting. Do you think that those energies will be connected in a grid to all of the pyramids around the world at some
Yes,
point?
I do.
It seems that that's the point of all of the pyramids, is that their original design was to be connected together as grids of higher consciousness and light.
Yes.
You know,
right.
So go ahead.
Okay, and then there's our central, the galactic center, you know, which is extremely powerful for our universe, you know. But then there's a great black hole that holds 27 galaxies in place.
Ooh.
You know, and the energy from that focuses into England, where Stonehenge is, and the sacred sites in England.
Oh, my.
And so when the energy comes in from that source in space, it comes into Stonehenge, and then it goes from Stonehenge to the pyramids.
Wow.
But the energy, and then there's different places in space, like there's Alcyon, you know, in the Palladian system.
Right.
And that's connected with, it's connected with the West Coast, you know. We're definitely under the Palladian energy from Northern California on up to British Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And then so, like the West Coast, that area is the New Jerusalem, and the Old Jerusalem is the opposite point on the Earth. And so the Palladian energy also focuses into the pyramid there. And so I think that when energy comes in from our local central sun of Alcyon, then it goes to the pyramids and also to the West Coast.
Oh.
Because it always hits two spots at a time. But as a generator, it would go to the pyramids and then go around to all the different other pyramids. And maybe that's the beginning of the activation of the ninth wave, you know?
That could be too, yeah.
Really soon. So that maybe they'll be prepared, you know, because I'm sure that the ones in Arkansas, we could consider that a pyramid too, because they're like crystal pyramids. You know, and I'm sure that they're all set up for ninth dimension energy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so the other pyramids are too, and so that's going to really make the Earth turn into light, you know. And then when we're talking about these anomalies, there's an anomaly going on in the Atlantic right now where the Bermuda Triangle is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I had gotten an email on that too, because it's affecting our government. And I got a couple of different emails from different people about it, and it says Atlantis anomaly causes shutdown of U.S. Army weapons base. And so
yeah, I read about that. What do you think? What do you think was going on with that?
Well, I think that because it's my understanding that there's an ancient pyramid from Atlantis down in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that it causes a strange energy, you know, that so many ships have missing from that area and anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that area was activated with this energy too, with the magnetic pole shift and with the platinum ray coming in and all that energy. And so I think that's being activated too. And so it's like Atlantis coming up.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? and put the military bases that are here for destruction and death and war and fighting with ourselves out of commission.
Right.
So, and of course the ninth wave, during that time, I believe that is a super accelerated time of about, I think, 260 days. And we go through periods every 18 days. It increases by 20-fold or something.
Yes.
So that's just around the corner. We're
right.
You know, all these little things that we're talking about that are happening right now are dovetailing into this this date. Which
yeah, because when we reach the time of no time, which I always thought was in 212, but maybe it's 211. I guess time will tell. And when you that's extremely high energy, and we're in the fifth dimension then, because that's what it manifests, you know?
Yeah.
No time.
According to Kellerman, we're at the point of October 28th, 2011, it's locked in. Until that point, it's a frequency that's moving, it's in movement, and then on October 28th, it locks in for 2012, and it stabilizes at 2012. So, you know, we'll see.
Right.
It's so close that now we can just say, well, we'll find out, won't we?
That's right, yeah. And in fact, like I said at the beginning of the program, you know, we're in February already.
Did you ever think that we would? I never thought.
Especially lately with, Australia getting the tremendous flooding and then the cyclone on top of it all, And so
bizarre.
Yeah, so that's from the energy, I think, of that planet getting closer and affecting our planet.
And you're talking about the 12th planet, right?
Well, it has, and in Bangladesh, this is all the lower hemisphere. And so the planet is coming in from the south. And so as that comes in, it brings or causes floods and earthquakes in the southern hemisphere. Oh. And so this is exactly what has been going on for a few years now. And if you look at where most of the earth events have been, they've been in the southern hemisphere, like Australia, the earthquakes in the South Pacific, which has been a horrendous amount, South America, the earthquakes in there, and Chile and Colombia, and the floods down there, and in South Africa. There's different names to it. Some people call it on the 12th planet, some people call it Nemesis, some people call it Nibiru. There's all different names to it. I think it's the dark star. I think it's Nemesis. I think it's a companion of our sun. It's kept me going for all these years, through the prophecies and everything, because I see the final outcome, and it's just a matter of getting there, and I don't always know the timing of the time of getting to that place, but I think that we're getting really close. And we also have another thing out there, and that's the planet coming in. And